Get this figure and more at the Big Bad Toy Store. Links in the description.
Hey, what up, it's Jobby, and today we're taking a look at the Digivolving Spirits 02 MetalGarurumon. And of course, he turns to the Gabumon, but we'll take a look at that later in the video. Now, I've talked about Digimon several times in the past, including MetalGarurumon himself, so if you really wanted to know my take on that franchise, go check those videos out. But what I will say is that this particular figure is a continuation of the brand new Digivolving Spirits line. And of course, the Digivolving Spirits line is a continuation of these lovely boys. If you know about the Digivolving Digimon figures from the 90s to the early 2000s, good for you, then you know what these are, and you would know that they're kind of terrible, but Bandai had the bright idea to bring those back to the modern day, redesign them for the modern age using modern transformation technology.
He sounds happy. Is he high?
And now we get the Digivolving Spirits line, and I've actually taken a look at one of these figures before. Check that video out if you'd like. So this being the second figure of a new line of Digivolving figures, I can safely say that these guys are a bit outdated. Fuck, now I have to pick that up. I did it. With how awesome the painting and the sculpting of the figure is, it's almost inconceivable that this guy transforms. I mean, unlike the Digivolving Spirits Wargreymon, it's not immediately obvious that this guy can Digivolve. Unlike this guy, where you turn it around and you just wanna... I mean, it's your own damn fault if you eat to one of my videos, come on. I mean, even his shoulder misopods are not... Okay, they're kind of obvious that they're feet, but if I hadn't told you, you probably wouldn't have guessed. And good on Bandai for taking a lot of design and sculpting cues from their previous SH Figure Arts MetalGarurumon. Just look at how similar these guys are. Seeing these guys side by side highlights how well they captured the proportions here. And seeing both the asses together, gotcha. Minimal kibble here, nothing to lose your shit over. At the bottom is practically perfect, save for the lack of thrusters on his hind legs. Shit. And I suppose now we can talk about that. Oh, now it's not doing it. Now it's on there pretty good. Oh, there we go. Fuck off. I can assure you that this ball-jointed ear here falls apart too easily. And I really don't understand why they put that on a ball joint. I guess it's supposed to give him more emotion, but it just ends up being unnecessary. Like... Come on! You didn't need the ball-jointed ears. You didn't have to go that extra, but what you could have gone extra on is the hind legs. There's no ball joint here. But they put one on the front legs. It makes no sense. You could have a reasonably wide stance and those ball joints get to work, but when it comes to the hind legs, nothing. Oh, but at least you get a ball joint at the ear. That saves it. Why'd I do that again? So Bandai's ball joint priority, it's completely fucked. And talking about the front legs reminds me of another aspect of the figure here. There's die-cast metal right here on these tubes, right here on the flat part of the shoulder misopods, and this whole helmet area. But you notice how I didn't mention anything about the bottom half of the figure. That's because surprisingly and inconceivably, most of the die-cast metal on this figure is localized to the front. It's not a... Okay, so this is not the main problem. It's actually kind of cool that he could do a successful handstand. What is the problem, though, is that compared to the previous Digivolving Spirits release, the minimal die-cast metal on this figure just makes it feel cheaper. And that's a little strange because this guy obviously looks way better, but I don't have as much fun handling this guy as I do this guy here, even though he looks completely ass. Obviously an exaggeration. You'd know that I actually really love this figure. Looks fantastic, but the feel and the weight of the figure is just a tiny bit off. I guess to balance the scales out, I would have liked some die-cast metal in the back legs here, maybe somewhere here on his buns. I mean, come on, it's an ice-type Digimon. You would think for an ice-type Digimon, it would be a lot colder. And just to prove that I'm not missing anything, bam! The die-cast parts are outlined here on the back of the box. Ages 15 and up, because anyone under the age of 15 can't handle this much amount of fuck. And this part right here on the shoulders is particularly sharp. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say these parts have the potential to draw blood, so hurt me more, daddy. As much as I complained about the feel of the figure, it's not the worst problem to have, you know, the die-cast imbalance, because all the joints on this figure are nice and tight, making for a very solid product. I'm assuming this is way better than the original figure that this thing is based on. I mean, really look at that thing. God damn. It's just such a sad looking thing. I think I found my spirit animal. Hey, spirit, like Digivolving Spirits, huh? up top, I don't know who I'm offering a high five to. I'm facing the wrong way. There we go. There we go. There is one part here that kind of cheeses me off. It's these parts here on the back where the struts, they don't like to stay in place. Especially when you're trying to pose the guy and you kind of reposition his legs and it's not doing it on camera, just like the ear. It won't perform the way I want it to on camera. I see how it is. That happened? Now I did say pose, so let's take a look at the accessories. There are no accessories. I'm not gonna swivel that. And that ball joint at the neck allows for the tiniest bit of... There we go, side to side. Pathetic. Previously mentioned ball joint at the ear, which is pretty unlimited. It's only his left here too. This one perfectly fine. This one not so much. His disgusting mouth is on a hinge joint. And there's a fairly limited ball joint at his skull, just like his SH Figuarts counterpart. Hinge joint here. Misopods can move up and down, and they can move up and down here. And I think there's a ball joint here, but it acts more like a rotation, also known as a swivel. Too tight to do that. Or not. Ball joint at the shoulder allows for a full... Fuck. I hit that. Rotation. Front leg can move out that far. There's a ball joint at the elbow that works as a standard elbow bend. And right below that, you get a swivel here. Ball joint at the wrist. Up and down. Wings can move up. And if you're not into the fully extended wing, I suppose you can retract that, even though now it looks like half a tail. Spoilers. No real articulation at the midsection, although there is one of these, but that's more for the transformation. Ball joint here. Also allows for a full rotation. Backwards bend at the knee. Up and down at the feet. And again, no sort of ball joint here. I don't know why. It doesn't make... Posability here is fairly limited compared to a standard non-transforming figure, but what is here is greatly appreciated. Now the weird die-cast metal imbalance gets even stranger when you consider how big this guy is. You expect a paperweight, but then you pick it up and it's like, woo! It's just lighter than it looks. That might have been the most convoluted transition to the size comparisons I've ever done. Here's Figma Modic Economy, SH Monster Arts Godzilla Masterpiece Optimus Prime, SH Figuarts MetalGarurumon, and of course, Digivolving Spirits #1, Wargreymon. You look at these guys side to side and it becomes clear that Wargreymon was kinda shafted in the sculpting and animation accurate department. Because my god, does MetalGarurumon look really good. But it seems like these figures have opposite design philosophies. On the one hand, you have Wargreymon, which when you turn it around, and MetalGarurumon, you look all around the figure, you only get some fist here, but nothing that's obviously Gabumon. But then you get to the alternate mode, and you see exactly what sacrifices had to be made. Here we have Gabumon. I always wondered why he sounded like an old dying man.
Gabumon! What Digivolve to?
And this mode is, is not terrible, but definitely a huge downgrade compared to Agumon. It's definitely more proportionate and full of life than the original Gabumon figure, and because the whole thing about the Digivolving Spirits line is that they want to go from cute to cool, it does the cute part reasonably well. I mean, he's got a nice round tummy here. His face is nice and sweet. They even sculpted in a little smile to kind of distract from the fact that Gabumon is a weird lizard man wearing a skin baby wolf. Oh, Jesus. This is one of those modes where the problems are obvious. The legs are hollow. There are no elbow joints. He's perpetually doing a Superman pose. Or, you know, something that's grossly offensive. But when it comes to these Digivolving figures, I feel that complaining about stuff like that doesn't really matter in the long run, because they're all gonna be like that. It's just an inevitable part of how these figures are designed. For a figure that goes from this to this, it's not the worst thing that could have happened. I mean, if you can't deal with stuff like this, you're not gonna be able to deal with any of it. What I'm trying to say is, Bandai, just keep shoveling shit down my throat. I'll gobble it up. For what it's worth, everything fits together really nicely. Bam, he is solid. Ball joint at the shoulders. You get a ball joint at his creepy man hands, which also have a tendency to pop off really easily. Up and down at the wrist. The pelt, which is obviously the front legs, has a ball joint. And that's pretty cool because you can pose it in a way that looks like it's flapping in the wind. Ball joint at the hips, which is kind of hindered by these stupid struts, but those struts can move out of the way. And you get a bend at the knee, up and down at the ankle, and the ball joint. God, that feels terrible. Ugh. Obviously, posability is toned way the hell down compared to the MetalGarurumon mode, and Gabumon does the job of being a cute figure fairly well by being pretty small. It's pretty amazing how the size difference completely shifts from the MetalGarurumon and Wargreymon. Agumon looks comically oversized next to Gabumon. And the Gabumon mode is not too bad. And that's why I gotta say overall, this figure is... MetalGarurumon mode looks fantastic, but the Gabumon mode... Ow! Fuck, I keep bumping my headphones on the mic. But the Gabumon mode, it's obviously compromised, but in terms of Digivolving figures, not the worst thing ever. Definitely makes for a great companion piece to Digivolving Spirits, Agumon. So if you're already in it, why not go deeper and pick this guy up? My god, if you're the kind of guy willing to pay that amount of money for a Digivolving figure that does not look absolutely perfect, you will enjoy it. I'm still on board for the rest of the line. The next figure has me a bit excited because it's a mold that is not based on any existing figure, completely original, and I get to show off my mediocre impression skills.
Gabumon Digimon 2.
So if you like this video, give it a like and give it a comment. Subscribe for more swiveling content from me. Ew, that hurt to say. And don't forget to click that bell for notifications. You have a 50% chance of catching this video in your sub box.
That's quite enough of that.